Have you ever wondered whether finding meaning in life is actually important, or is it just something made up by people? Maybe you get the sense that you should be further along in life, yet experience an overwhelming sense that you'll never get anywhere from where you are now. If you've ever wondered whether personal development works, it does. To lead a content and successful life, it's imperative to find meaning in your life. This is something that distinguishes you from others. The meaning you find in your life may not be the same as those around you, but that's fine. Your distinct meaning is what sets you apart. Once you find the meaning in your life, you can become the best of your being. In addition to that, you'll be able to polish your personality. In this video, we'll talk about what life purpose is. Most people have no idea what they'd like to pursue or do with their lives. This is not just high school graduates full of aspiring, wonderful dreams. In fact, it's most adults, even after finishing school, getting a job, and making steady money. There's still room for clearly defining what their life purpose is. In fact, it's a conflict that often begins in adult life. Seemingly simple questions like, what do I want to do with my life? What am I passionate about? And how can I make my life better? Are all questions that pop into adult minds looking for ways to identify what they would like to do with their lives. In other words, they still haven't been able to identify their life purpose. But is this really as complicated as it seems? Well, yes and no. To put it simply, everyone exists on Earth for an unspecified duration of time. People do different things during that time, with some being important and others not so much. Among these things, it's the important things which give life its meaning and sense of fulfillment. The unimportant ones are just a way to kill time. To make matters a little more complicated, ignorance towards their true selves is something that most people live with for a long time. They set up their lives based on others' expectations and norms, and in doing so may never be able to discover their true selves. Others who set out on the path to self-discovery find out that the journey is neither easy nor pleasant. In fact, there are plenty of hurdles along the way. When you set out to find your life purpose, it means that you hold yourself, your set of beliefs and values, and your likes and interests as top priority. You look for things that make you truly happy, or rather fulfilled. This also means that on the way, you're going to displease others since you no longer want to live your life by their dictates. Yes, this journey can include confusion, conflict, some fear, quite a bit of misunderstanding, and a lot of doubt along the way. And last but not least, it also involves revisiting many choices you've made in life earlier. Think of it as spring cleaning of the mind that will ultimately lead to your life's true purpose. So, what is life purpose, really? Life purpose is a lot of things, but foremost, it's the first step to living your life the most conscious way. Here's one way to look at it. You may be very busy with a lot of chores and tasks every day. But if you don't have a purpose intended for those tasks, then every effort you make will mean very little in the end. So basically, the goal in the end may have nothing to do with your purpose. This means that you could pursue your current goals for the next so many years and then come to realize that this wasn't what you wanted in the first place. On the contrary, if you have a life purpose, then that's how you learn to lead a conscious life. Your efforts get directed towards something and you enjoy every minute of it. And although this doesn't imply that your problems disappear, at least now you know why you're trying to find a way around those problems. You also know that you've discovered your life purpose when you feel energized in all your endeavors. You no longer dread the daily grind, but are eager to get your day started and get as much done as you possibly can. How do you measure life purpose? There can be a few determinants in this regard. For starters, there's making sacrifices. Achieving anything that's worth achieving involves sacrifices. Everything comes at a cost, and very few things are uplifting or pleasurable all the time. The question that arises here is, what sacrifice or struggle are you ready to make or tolerate? If you find yourself giving in at the slightest chance of pressure, then obviously this choice isn't your life purpose. But if you're willing to ride through the rough patches and stick with it no matter what, then you may be onto something. This is because what ultimately determines your ability to commit to something shows how much you care about that thing and how much it means to you. For instance, if you wish to become a successful entrepreneur, but aren't good at handling failure, you won't get far. Or say your dream is to become a professional artist and don't like to see your work criticized or rejected, then there's not much scope for you out there. But if the same purposes keep you going despite unpleasant experiences, staying awake long nights or riding out the bad days, then you may have discovered what you're really cut out for. You can also determine if you found your life purpose if you find sheer joy in doing something now that you also enjoyed doing as a child. Say you enjoyed writing as a child and only rediscovered the same joy of writing later on in life. A lot of times people tend to lose touch with what they loved when they were younger. Oftentimes, it has a lot to do with the social pressures of adolescence or the professional pressure of young adulthood, which wrings the passion right out of them. Instead, what remains behind is the lesson that the only reason to do anything is if there's a tangible reward for it. But if you can look beyond the physical reward for something and learn to enjoy the experience instead, it could be your true calling. Interestingly enough, vulnerability can also often point you in the direction of your real passion. If you're passionate about something, then you risk making mistakes to improve yourself. Making mistakes leads to embarrassment, and if becoming embarrassed stops you from doing something that you really want to do, then you should rethink your life purpose. Your real life purpose won't let you care about getting embarrassed. It won't concern itself with what others think of you, but urge you to pursue it instead. When people feel like they've got no sense of direction or any purpose in life, it's because they don't know what's important to them. And when you don't know what's important to you, then you're just taking on other people's values and following their priorities instead of your own. And this is exactly what this video aims to correct so that you can live your own life based on what's important to you and not what others think is good for you. In this video, we'll learn about the importance of finding meaning in life. Let's revisit the idea of a conscious life once more. If you find meaning in your life, you'll be able to learn your purpose in this world. Experts believe that you can live your life in two ways. The first says that if you're conscious, you'll live along the same lines as others, yet you'll experience the same things differently. The second way to live is to live unconsciously. Broadly speaking, if you live like that, life will just happen to you. Think of it as a giant wave that keeps pushing you forward. You have no control over where you're going or why you're going there. In fact, the only thing certain about this situation is that you're just going with the flow. This kind of life isn't exactly ideal since you don't have much say in it, yet many of us live this way. When you learn the meaning of life, you have a better sense of your purpose. You tend to understand why you're in this world. Just like that, you will have a clearer view of how you can contribute to the world. If you don't know your purpose, you'll hate getting out of bed. Your motivation to last through the week would be looking forward to the weekend. Put you in a challenging situation and you'll feel burnt out before you even tried anything worth trying. On the other hand, if you lead a meaningful life, you'll love the grind. Here are some tips on why it's important to find the meaning in life. 1. Gives clarity and focus. Look around yourself. You'll see so many people running after a host of popular things. Common offenders include earning more money, getting a house, then getting an even bigger house. Goals also include getting a car, the latest technology, and everything along those lines. Incidentally, all these are also material gains and rewards. And while they may seem very important to you right now, do they really matter that much in the long run? How about looking for something that you're passionate about instead? Something that you thoroughly enjoy doing, something that brings out the best in you. It isn't uncommon that while running after money and luxuries, you become sidetracked from your real purpose. Finding your life purpose will help you become aware of the things that are important. Once you learn to look past these common needs, you'll see what's important. It'll help you set your goals and eliminate unimportant things from your life. If you keep pursuing things you don't need, knowingly or unknowingly, you'll end up nowhere. By distinguishing between the important and unimportant, you won't feel lost and unaccomplished in 20 years' time. You can also achieve success by finding the meaning in your life. Remember this one thing: your success will be different from others. For you, success might be becoming the next Newton. For someone else, it might be owning the latest Audi. But worry not. This is exactly what meaning brings in your life: uniqueness and contentment. Every day you have to become a better version of yourself. You have to get up and conquer the world. To achieve, succeed, or excel, you have to first find the meaning in your life. 2, teaches what defines you. Have you ever felt that external factors are defining who you are? That you're being told what works for you instead of you figuring it out for yourself? Why does this happen? Probably because you don't have a life purpose or haven't figured it out yet. When you lead a meaningless life, society starts to define you, and the people around you shape you. If you keep living by others' definitions of you, you'll find yourself in unfulfilling jobs and situations. Being human, we all need a mean of sustenance. However, you may be stuck in a job that you hate. You needed a job, so you got whatever was out there. The only reason you may have landed this job is because someone else recommended you for the position. The result is that you end up going to your workplace tired and bored, surrounded by people you have nothing in common with, all because you had no direction in life. You just needed a job. But as soon as you find some life purpose, you can work towards a career that better fits your purpose. If you're leading a meaningful life, your means and sustenance can also become your passion. You can find yourself in a workplace that you enjoy and coworkers who are compatible with you. Once you have a meaning and a purpose, you'll clearly see the people you need. In addition, you'll also be able to cut out the people who are toxic. It's important to find compatibility in people and surround yourself with those who support your meaning. Being around like-minded individuals who can help you become your best self can add even more to your life purpose. 3, keeps you connected with the present. The more you engage in a purposeful life, the more it grows with you. At the same time, it also makes you happier. Remember how we talked about the important versus the unimportant? Well, a purposeful life will no doubt be very different from the pleasurable, unimportant life that is transient, current, and illusory. In contrast, a meaningful life can become demanding and quite often a stressful one. More than worldly goods and luxuries, it requires planning, patience, ownership of actions, and the responsibility and the consequences of choices made. It's definitely not as accommodating as a pleasurable life because purpose requires you to be patient, delay gratification, and think for the long term. When you do all of this, it keeps you connected to the present. What this means is that you learn to live the best you can in the present. Your purpose keeps you grounded to your present rather than postponing it into the future. Say you're working on a book and need to get it done by a specific time. Now, you also have a family, kids, and other responsibilities to see. Your purpose in this case is to get the book written. So despite other commitments, you make your best effort to give time to your book. At the end of the day, you'll know that you were able to squeeze time for what you love to do and fulfill your purpose, even though in a small way. It's one small step forwards towards completing a project which means something to you. A connection to the present also helps you stay focused, passionate, and gratified with what you have. Focused because you know how to stay away from distractions. Passionate because it urges you on to reach your full potential. And gratified because you're living a value-based life. In this video, we'll talk about why it's hard to find a purpose in life. When you think about it, it seems easy enough to find yourself. However, once you put this thought into action, things can quickly become hard. When you're looking for meaning or purpose in life, there are many obstacles that you face. This seemingly easy task can take quite a while for it to sort out. Here are some common issues that may be preventing you from discovering your life purpose. Societal influence. It's quite possible that you've already adopted the ways of society. Our society has certain standards through which we judge people, and it's due to these standards why some people are popular and others are not. Perhaps societal influence is most impressionable in young adults. For example, if you're a high school student, you would see these factors around you. When you see that being a football player makes you popular, that's what you may want to be. Or you may want to be a cheerleader since they seem to be equally popular. Once you see this, you strive for the purpose that has been set by people around you. All this might not appeal to you, or it may not be your calling. However, you give in to the influence and ignore your route to self-discovery. Say your purpose in life might be to be the next Steve Jobs. However, in an attempt to be as cool as the football player, you lose yourself behind. And societal influence doesn't end there. In fact, for many, it goes on beyond their adolescent years and pursues them even in their advanced years, always preventing them from finding their true calling. Low self-esteem, self-worth. This one is a real dilemma. How do you expect to love yourself if you've never been loved by others, or you've never been told what you're worthy of? For many people, the road to self-discovery can be tough without self-love. If you've been criticized by everyone around you all your life, it can be hard for you to love yourself. It's possible that you've never been appreciated in your life for what you are. People around you may have always told you that someone else was better than you. For instance, your parents may have always compared you with your cousins, friends, or other peers. Your teachers may have told you how everyone else in the class was better than you. Or your boss has been quick to criticize your flaws, but shown little or no appreciation for your work. This negative feedback can really stop you from being true to yourself. In fact, it becomes harder to find your purpose until you love yourself unconditionally. Quite simply, how else will you learn about the things you care about or things that matter to you? To find your purpose, you have to give time to yourself. If you don't consider yourself worthy of your own time and attention, you're in a bad place. Because of all these factors, self-love becomes an impossible task. You constantly criticize your own self by comparing yourself to others. And in addition to that, you don't think that you're good at anything. Lack of freedom to dream. Not everyone gets to follow their dreams, and it becomes one of the greatest factors stopping you from finding your purpose. Your purpose might lie in something that is considered unrealistic by others. Let's say you want to be a photographer, yet everyone keeps telling you that that isn't a very economic decision. They asked you how you'd feed your family. They also remind you of the increasing expenses and how your passion isn't going to be compatible with your finances. Even your parents have better options decided for you. They tell you that there are other jobs that will get you the money. If you want to do something unconventional, they tell you how there is no scope for it. With this constant discouragement to follow your dreams, you can't ever discover yourself. You will lose the will to find what you were born to do. Then there are certain things that you're required to do by a certain age. You're expected to get a degree by a certain age and then settle down. It all comes down to the societal norms once again. In a race to get a degree and start a career, you forget to listen to your calling. Your calling is the true you. It's something that makes you. Once you respond to that, you will find your purpose. But if you're not given a chance to even think about following your dreams, how can you achieve them? Fear of the dark side. Everyone has a dark side. People who come to terms with their dark side are the most successful ones. You can ignore this side of yours, but you can't make it go away. Until you address it, this side will always remain. As long as it's present, this side hinders you from discovering your purpose. The reason why you don't find your purpose is because you're scared to get in touch with this side, and you don't want others to see it either. You think that if you keep hiding it, it will stop existing, but this isn't true. Your dark side is a portrait of your deficiencies. It represents your flaws and your failures. It encompasses the selfish and wrong desires that you have. When you're on a journey of self-discovery, you'll have to encounter this side, yet the fear of this side keeps you from trying to find your purpose. You fail to understand that this side can help you excel. Once you enlighten this side of yours, you can be your best self. The problem is that you do not want those around you to see that you have this side. It's your little secret. You're even afraid to see it yourself. How can you, a responsible father, have any selfish desire? How can you, a hardworking student, fail at being an honest person? You're too scared to face these questions. Yet it all makes sense. You find solace in looking at the bright side of yourself. This is where your comfort zone lies. It's this side that makes you feel good about yourself. Despite this side will never help you find your ultimate purpose. Another aspect of this dark side is a fear of questions you don't have answers to. It's easy and comfortable to be faced with questions that you have answers to, but it's natural to feel hesitant facing questions you can't answer. On the road to self-discovery, there's a lot of questions you can't always answer. The thought of facing these questions scares you, and that's why you try to avoid them. You become accustomed to easy knowledge that you have for yourself, and because of this, you don't want to be in an ambiguous situation. How can I not know this about myself? This is what stops you from finding your purpose. So, if you somehow manage to cross all these obstacles, you can find your purpose. It's just a constant battle with yourself and your deepest fears. If you win it, you're golden. In this video, we'll talk about happiness versus fulfillment. Happiness is a code that all humans have. It's deemed essential, and everyone seems to believe it. In fact, it's gained a religion-like reverence that everyone follows. But happiness is something that is relatively subjective. It can be big, small, long-term, or short-term. And since it's more of a general term, everyone can relate to it. Some common things that make everyone happy are family, career, a good job, and money. Fulfillment, on the other hand, is something more personal. It's yours. And as such, fulfillment for everyone is different. You can experience fulfillment when you pursue something you're passionate about, such as a goal or a dream. Perhaps you're all about helping others, such as volunteering, or maybe you're that person who engages in activities promoting continuous growth and learning. If you compare the two, you'll notice that fulfillment has a much deeper and longer-lasting effect than happiness. Fulfillment is what you need to strive for. Why? Here's why. Fulfillment is unique to you. The foremost reason why you should opt for fulfillment is that it's something unique to you. It's something that sets you apart from others around you. Maybe eating right and exercising is what fulfills you, as you know you're doing something right to improve your overall health. Your friend, on the other hand, may find workouts not so fulfilling, as better health may not be what they are looking for. To them, your workout sessions together may just be a drag. So while happiness is something that everyone feels the same way about, fulfillment will give you a unique sense of being and purpose. In fact, unlike happiness, which is strictly a feeling, fulfillment is something that you attain by investing time and effort. It's a feeling of hard work and dedication that leads to the accomplishment of your goals. In its own way, fulfillment makes you a complete person. In terms of their time spans, happiness is a fleeting, short-term sensation, while fulfillment is eternal. Being short-term, happiness isn't realistically sustainable. After all, how many people do you know who are actually happy all the time? Probably not that many. But when you compare it to fulfillment, you may know quite a few who are very, very content with what they have achieved. This is because the idea of fulfillment makes it okay to not be happy all the time. It tells you that things will be okay even if you're going through a rough patch. Fulfillment gets etched in your brain and remains with you for a very long time. For example, you do something such as blogging, which gives you a feeling of fulfillment. If being a lifestyle blogger makes you feel fulfilled, you'll invest all your creativity and energy into being one. On the way, you'll surely have some bad days. Everyone does. Yet, you'll always have the contentment in your heart that you are doing something purposeful. With happiness, you never know how long you're going to be happy for. If you're happy now, you could hear some upsetting news making happiness dissipate quickly. Happiness is not as personal, since anything can take it away from you in a matter of seconds. Opposed to that, fulfillment is not affected by incidents, feelings, or people. It belongs to you. It is yours, and you can keep it for as long as you want. Nothing and no one can steal your sense of fulfillment from you. Fulfillment gives meaning to success. Being happy with your success is great. However, this feeling will eventually go away. You might have won an Oscar and felt like you're on top of the world at that moment. However, if it's not something that fulfills you, that award is just a miniature statue in your home. On the contrary, if something makes you feel fulfilled, it gives you joy every day. Happiness is simply not sustainable. Fulfillment is. This is why that's what you should aim for. In addition, if you aim towards fulfillment, you're bound to work hard. If all you want to do is be happy, you don't need to do much. Even being with your favorite person can make you happy. Just like that, listening to any song can make you happy. If you're a foodie, a donut can brighten up your day. Sometimes happiness can make you lazy too. Hanging out with someone you like will make you happy. However, it will distract you from the things that you're supposed to do. When you strive for fulfillment, you will get things done on time. You will suddenly get an urge to get things done. At the end of the day, when everything is done, you'll feel complete. You'll be content knowing that you made something out of your day. Staying in your comfort zone makes you happy, but it won't take you anywhere. To be happy, you can take shortcuts, but you can't do that with fulfillment. This is why you will go the extra mile to be fulfilled. Plus, if you're doing something that fulfills you, you'll also be more willing to try new things. You'll think of all the ways you can get better at it. Suppose your job is fulfilling for you. Now you won't dread the weekdays. You may even think of your work even during the weekends. This probably explains really well why some people are always immersed in their work. It happens when you find fulfillment in your work. It makes you content and your life peaceful. Happiness is just one feeling. Happiness is a single feeling. Think of it like a rainbow. It's just one color. On the other hand, fulfillment is made up of so many colors. It's made up of passion, drive, emotion, grief, failure. You don't have to go through all of that to feel fulfilled. This is what makes fulfillment so special. There's nothing wrong with looking for happiness, but do you want to miss all the colors of the rainbow for just one color? There are times when you're not exactly happy, but you're fulfilled. For example, if you're working long hours as a doctor, you may not be happy. You may have seen some painful cases throughout the day. You may have even cried when your procedure doesn't go as planned. It could be a day filled with grief, misery, and hard work. Yet at the end of the day, you feel peace at heart. This is because you feel fulfilled. You know that you did something which completes you. It's your purpose in this world, and you do it religiously. For most, this feeling is enough to keep them going. Even when you may not be happy, the feeling of fulfillment drives you on. When you're fulfilled, you always look for ways to get better. You must remember that happiness is an important element in life too. However, it is not as bright a star as fulfillment is. In this video, we'll talk about steering clear of false purpose. If you look around you, you'll see that most people follow the same dream. So much so that they all seem to have the same purpose. The most common example of this is how everyone believes their purpose in life is to earn money. In addition to that, starting a family also accompanies this desire to acquire wealth. This will sound very familiar to most people, only because these are the words of your parents, teachers, and friends. You've always heard people talk about these basic things. They're repeated so often that it seems like these things are the sole purpose of humanity. But do you ever think about what role you had in determining these purposes for yourself? Were you ever consulted in establishing these goals, or are they mere echoes of others telling you what your goals should be? chances are that somewhere along the line, others did the deciding and determining for you. Your elders, mentors, coaches, and teachers took it upon themselves to decide for you without including you in the decision-making process. So what you thought was a choice was nothing more than suggestions or conditioned messages letting you believe that you were the one making the choices. Yet, at best, they were instructions that you were asked to follow to determine the course of your life. But if you think about it, then something just doesn't add up, as these are purposes imposed on you by others. It can be very easy to believe that a false purpose is your actual purpose in life. You could be influenced by family, colleagues, and society. All these factors sometimes convince you that a certain purpose is your true one. However, in reality, it may not be so at all. Recognizing false purpose. The easiest way to recognize false purpose is that it's not your calling. Most often, it's something that has been imposed upon you by people. It could be a thought, an idea, or a suggestion, but it's not your thought or idea. Many life coaches talk about how finding your purpose isn't related to money or career. It's about finding your true self. This is the self that you've hidden underneath the needs of the people around you. It's quite true that you tend to hide your real purpose underneath people's needs. The society needs you to be a busy 9-to-5 person, so you hide the carefree artist inside you. Your parents need you to get a good degree, so you curb your desire to sing and dance for a living. Your family needs you to be there at all times, so you hide your desire to be a tour guide. It's due to all these reasons that you adopt a false purpose. Don't be fooled by this purpose. It doesn't come from within you. It's being fed to you by others. Suppose you're watching a movie with friends. You want to watch an adventure movie, but they're more inclined towards a comedy. You may resist for a while, but eventually will give in to their constant nagging. In the bigger picture, this is how people around you can manipulate you into believing that false purpose is your calling. Why you need to steer clear of false purpose. Now that you have an idea of what false purpose is, you need to steer clear of it. Your false purpose can destroy you. It can make you do things that you don't enjoy or find meaning in. At some point in life, maybe 10 years from now, you'll regret not only the purpose, but also the time you spent aiming for it. If you run after a false purpose, you realize it sooner or later. In the beginning, it may seem like you are doing things right. Then you look around you and comfort yourself by saying that everyone else is doing the same thing too. Yet, deep inside, you lack both contentment and happiness. Then you have an epiphany, a time when everything comes crashing down. You realize how you are just like others. You think to yourself, what have I done that they haven't? How am I different from them? How is my life more fulfilling than theirs? Did I spend my youth grinding and working to be just like others? If you steer clear of false purpose, only then do you find meaning in your life. To do so, you have to listen to yourself. What is your being saying to you? Don't listen to others around you. Don't listen to the guy telling you to be an engineer just because he knows someone who is successful as one. Your true purpose is something you want. It's something that you have thought for yourself. You're not expected to do it. You just want it. That's the beauty of a true person. You won't have to drag yourself to fulfill this purpose. Instead, you'll just get the energy for it naturally. Your passion will drive you to do your best. Also, when you steer clear of false purpose, you do everything fearlessly. When you're forced into a false purpose, it's often due to fear. The fear of your parents or the fear of being rejected by society. However, when you find your true purpose, you do it with love. There's no fear of letting anyone down. You know you're doing this for yourself. How can you steer clear of false purpose? If you want to steer clear of false purpose, you need to listen to yourself only. Ignore what everyone else has to say. Spend time with yourself and learn about yourself. You'll find what drives you. If you care enough for yourself, you'll find the things that excite you. The most important thing is not to be fearful. Don't fear failure. but be ready to face it. Don't fear rejection, but have the guts to face it. People might tell you that you have disappointed them, but it doesn't matter. You might be wondering, how do I know I am not pursuing a false purpose? The best way to find out is by seeing if what you're doing makes you feel fulfilled. If you're following your true purpose, you'll feel inspired by it every day. You'll find new things in it to love every day. On the other hand, a false purpose will show you its flaws very soon. To steer clear of this flawed purpose, you need to define your purpose. If you have defined your purpose well in advance, you won't have any regrets later. Defining your purpose will give you a clear indication about your next move. This will ensure that you aren't going towards the pursuit of false purpose. What matters is you and your ultimate fulfillment. Don't let anyone tell you that you disappointed them because you didn't go into medicine just like the rest of your family. If making music is your purpose, do that. Antoinette Foy says, "The core of your true self is never lost. Let go of all the pretending." The philosophy behind this concept is to let yourself in. Once you allow that to happen, you won't need to find yourself. Your true self will just appear in front of you. This is the ultimate way to find your true purpose. Just be yourself and do your thing. You're not everyone else around you, so don't even try to be them. In this video, we'll discover the importance of defining your life purpose. Finding your life's purpose can help you reach great heights. Before you find your purpose, you need to define it. It's only logical that you do everything in steps. Whenever you decide to do anything in life, you take a stepwise approach, from performing reactions in a lab to cooking. Everything needs to be done in steps, so it's quite logical to define your purpose before you set out to find it. Frederick Buckner once said, "Purpose is the place where your deep gladness meets the world's needs." Before you serve the world, you need to define this place. You can't get to this place until you have defined it first. Gives you direction. Defining your purpose gives you a definite direction. It directs you towards your ultimate goal in life. If you want to achieve something in life, you have to be clear about your purpose. The most successful people will tell you that you need to have a definite purpose to win. Plus, you must also have a strong desire to achieve this purpose. If you have no direction, you'll end up going around in circles. Think of it as a journey. If you're going to go somewhere, not only do you need directions, but you also need a destination to reach. But you'll never reach there if you don't have the directions. Similarly, if you have no definition, you can't get to your purpose. But when you define your purpose, you know exactly what you're aiming for. Defining your purpose is the best way to dig deep in yourself. You need to ask yourself, why are you doing something, or why you need to do it? But no one said it would be easy. When you first start the process, you're bound to be confused. There will be so many questions that you can't answer, and you'll face ambiguities about yourself. However, as soon as you define your purpose, all these doubts and confusions go away. You're able to see your goals clearly, and you will know how to reach those goals. People who are successful know what they want and why they want it. They have a sense of direction. Most importantly, they know what success means, and they're aware of why they need to be successful or lead a meaningful life. Once you define your purpose, anything you do will be in consistency with your goals. Every action of yours will get you closer to your aims and purpose. The first step is always to know why. Defining your purpose will help you filter out your actions. You'll be able to prioritize the things that you need to do. In the same way, you'll also learn about the things you need to cut out. 2, keeps you from getting distracted. Defining your purpose also keeps you from getting distracted. When you're on a quest to find a purpose, you'll be sidetracked by a lot of things. To prevent this from happening, it's important to have a clear sense of where you're going. If you just wake up one day and decide to do something, you won't be very successful. On the contrary, planning and defining will get you wherever you want. If you have a well-defined purpose, you'll actually live life and not just survive. For example, you might believe that your purpose in life is to serve others. Unless you know how you can do it, you can't do it. You might get distracted by people around you. They may tell you that you can do so by being a doctor or a teacher. So if your purpose isn't defined, you get distracted by other people's suggestions, and you set upon a path that's not compatible with your calling. But if you define your purpose, you find the right path. You need to ask yourself important questions. Why you want to serve others? What drives you to do so? Why is it that this is your purpose and not something else? After answering all these questions, you'll have a better sense of your purpose. Just like that, you'll clearly see the path you need to take. When you have defined your purpose, you're not afraid to take risks. You're not afraid to do new things or unconventional things. This definition will set the principle for your journey. 3, keeps you organized. When your purpose is well defined, you remain organized. Instead of constantly thinking of what you need to do next, you already have a plan set out. But when you do not have a definition in your life, you're always busy thinking. The process of thought is time-consuming, and if you get stuck in this process, you can't hope to go beyond. To define your purpose, you'll have to give time to the thinking process. When you're done with it, you know exactly what needs to be done. You can enlist all the things that you need to do. If you've defined your purpose well, you can make a day-to-day plan. Some people are lucky in this regard as they have those aha moments which enlightens them. Others have to think for a while. Some may even have to look around for inspiration. As soon as you've found your inspiration and your definition, you can start your journey. Think of it as a car ride. To start the ride, you need a car first. Then you need to have a clear idea of where you're going and why you're going there. If you don't know these things, you'll never be able to start. But if your thoughts are well organized, you won't have any doubts or confusion. Nothing will be able to distract you. A. Milne explains this well when he says, organization is something you do before you do something. He further says that you do this so that everything doesn't get mixed up. This makes a lot of sense. If all your thoughts and plans are mixed up, you're in trouble. Define your purpose. Stick to a single plan, and you'll eventually find your purpose. 4, gives you time for experimentation. While you're defining your purpose, it gives you a chance to experiment. This is the time when you can explore yourself. When you're defining yourself, you'll be able to see your real self. If you simply set out to find your purpose, you might find something completely different along the way. It might be something that will completely change your purpose. Then all your previous effort will go to waste. Now consider this. If you've already done all the defining, exploring, and experimenting, you will be more certain. By experimenting, you learn about yourself. You see your passion, your interests, and your talents. When you define your purpose, you may find things that surprise you. Imagine yourself as a video game character. You have to read the instructions first or watch a tutorial video. Without that, you'll be completely lost. Just like that, you need to define your purpose. Look within to find your drive, your reason, and your calling. In this video, we'll learn how to find your purpose and passion. You may have all the prerequisites for happiness, including a job, a happy family, and a big house, but why is it that you don't feel fulfilled? If you constantly feel that something is missing, then the missing piece of the puzzle could be your purpose. At this stage, you need to sit down and reevaluate your life. Only by asking yourself and looking into yourself will you find the answers. No one knows you better than yourself. So it's you and only you who can find your purpose. Your job is to find this purpose and polish it well, because when you accomplish that, your life becomes so much more meaningful. 1, find what excites you. Most of the time, your purpose is what excites you. If your current job doesn't excite you, it's definitely not your passion. Do you have to drag yourself out of bed every day? Are you constantly looking at the clock during work? All of us are born with a talent. We all have something inside us that makes us different and special. You just need to find this thing. Just a little warning, you won't be perfect at it the first time. You can't really expect to be perfect at something, even if it's your talent. You have to learn it, earn it. Even the best artists and musicians have to practice and learn. But then how do you know what your talent is? It's something that comes easy to you. It could be drawing. If a pencil and paper excites you, then drawing might just be your purpose. If it's always been easier for you to draw than write, then look that way. Maybe you could draw straight lines and perfect circles without any tools, and your notes had more doodles than writing on them. Clues like these tell you where your real passion lies, and you shouldn't hesitate to answer that call. Here's something. Have you ever had that feeling when you do something for the first time, but feel like you already know how to do it? That's the feeling you need to look for. Steve Jobs had the best advice in this regard. He said that you have to trust in something in your life. It could be gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. He said that this approach can make a lot of difference in your life. 2, ask yourself why. Why is one of the most powerful questions ever asked. You need to ask yourself why you want to do a certain thing, or why not. It's important to focus on the clarity of purpose. If you know the why behind the things you do, you will find your purpose easily. As an example, consider the whys associated with your job. Maybe you're doing this job because it earns you a fine living. Maybe you're in this career because your parents pressured you, or you could be doing something just because all your friends were. If these reasons justify your whys, then you're not doing what your purpose in life is. When you ask yourself why, the answer should be fulfillment. And that's when you know you're face to face with your purpose. You need to ask yourself, why do I want to draw? And if the voice from inside you tells you that it's going to get meaning and fulfillment, then you're on the right path. This path will take you to your purpose. If the voice inside you tells you you're doing something out of fear or to fit in, then you need to let go immediately, for that is not your purpose. Once you figure out the why, follow Nike's motto, just do it. Because the more you act, the more things become clearer. So instead of overthinking whether something will work or not, should you try it, or what if you don't make money at it, start taking small steps toward your calling. On the way, there will always be people around you who will have discouraging words for you. They'll tell you your career path is unrealistic and useless, or there are those who will forcefully make you believe that something else is your pursuit. You have to ignore all these voices and listen to yourself instead. Your true passion lies in only the things that you enjoy and love. Don't let others dictate this to you or allow anyone to tell you that your passion is useless. Since it's something that defines you as a person, you shouldn't care about others' opinions and expectations. Just remember that you're doing it for yourself because you owe it to yourself. 3, explore your options. Many people also get stuck because they try to find the one thing that they're meant to do. But in doing so, you may waste your time looking for the wrong thing. Actually, find something and then realize it's not for you, or just become disheartened when that something doesn't work out for you. But why limit yourself to this one mentality if you could do so much more? The idea that you have only one thing that's meant for you can limit you from fulfilling your potential. For instance, you may be a life coach who writes, travels, speaks, teaches, mentors, and designs at the same time. You may enjoy every aspect of this job, being equally good at all of them. You may feel equally passionate about being in any of these roles, which makes the whole experience of being a life coach more meaningful. So stop thinking that there's only one singular purpose for you when you could be doing so much more with passion. So don't hesitate to jump in and try new things. Stop trying to resist the unknown, for maybe that's where your calling is hiding. Do follow your passions to make your life more purposeful. When you live a passionate life, it becomes your purpose as well. In fact, you only need to look for a purpose when passion is lacking from your life. This makes you feel disconnected from life. So to fix this void, simply add in more passion. If you need help with that, look at the people who inspire you, for they can help you find your passion. For instance, if an artist or a designer inspires you, their field could be your passion too. Do you find yourself spending all your time on social media pages of fashion bloggers or designers? 4, don't suppress your doubts. Suppressing your doubts is something that can stop you from finding your purpose. By definition, doubt is a feeling you get when you have to do something, but there's more than one course of action to choose from. You're not sure which option you should pick, so you give in to doubt. Although doubt always involves uncertainty about which decision will turn out best, it's not actually a bad thing to experience. If you let your doubts surface and come to terms with them, you're still making progress. But if you keep ignoring them, your life will become a mess. For example, do you have doubts about your current job? Do you feel like you could be much better at something else? Give this thought time and find what you're better at. Even when you do think you have found a purpose and you have doubt, let that come to the surface too. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with a false purpose. In finding your purpose, you'll have doubts, fears, and ambiguities. Always remember the final point and joy you get once you're there. With this thought in mind, you will definitely discover your purpose. In this video, we'll learn about transitioning to your life purpose. The grind doesn't end once you discover your purpose. When you finally know what gives your life meaning, you are excited, pumped, and passionate. But is that enough? Well, actually, no, it's not. The next step in the process is to transition to your life purpose. This means making changes, perhaps lots of changes. So, how do you transition? Here's how. 1. Set your goals. After finding your purpose, you have to set your goals. If there are no goals or aims, your purpose is useless. It's just an ideology that is not being put into action. You have to give life to this purpose. The transition state is a state where you start to give life to your purpose. This is when you need to plan how you're going to show your purpose to others. As Karl Barth once said, though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. In your transition phase, you learn how to make your awesome ending. For example, you've discovered that your purpose is to blog and inspire others. What are you going to inspire others about? Are you going to start a self-help blog? Is your aim to be a fashion inspiration for others? You can't just get a website and wait for things to happen. Instead, you need to start writing. Put on your working pants and get to work. You can't be a successful writer with just an idea in your head. What you need to do is put this idea on paper. Likewise, you can't transition to your life purpose without a vision. If you don't have a vision, there's no way you can succeed. Your vision is what defines your purpose. If you have a well-defined goal and your purpose is clear to you too, the rest of the way becomes easier. Without a goal, you just go around aimlessly. Even the purpose you are supposed to serve, you won't be able to excel at it. Humans are functioned to work with rewards. You tend to work even harder when you know there's a reward involved. This is exactly how you need to transition to your purpose. Tell yourself that getting 10,000 readers on your blog will be your reward if you work hard. This will keep you motivated to transition to your purpose. You might not achieve what you wanted, but it's fine. At least you've started the transition process. You'll get there sooner or later. 2, the fear factor. The major reason why most people fail to transition to their purpose is fear. The fear of disappointing yourself and those around you, or the fear of not being good enough. There are these questions hanging like swords over your head. Will my passion make me a living? Am I really as good as I think I am? Will I end up disappointing my family, friends, and myself? However, you shouldn't let the fear of judgment, rejection, or disliking stop you from being your true self. How true is that? Aren't these all the factors that stop you from being who you are? Things will be hard, but you're transitioning to your purpose. Things won't always be easy. There will be times when you may want to go back to your previous miserable, meaningless life or your comfort zone. In these times, you have to remind yourself why you started in the first place. If these things were going to be easy, then everyone would be doing it. What's the point of anything if it's unbelievably easy? The fear of change stops you from transition to your purpose. The fear of leaving your old life behind pushes you away from your purpose. There are so many people who have their purpose in front of their eyes, yet they are too scared to hold it or get it. Remind yourself why you took the first step. That will keep you going. It'll be hard to steer clear of people who divert you from the purpose. These are the people who have always been around you. Ignoring them will take a while and some effort. Similarly, The fear of deteriorating relationships stops the transition process. What you need to remember is that anyone who is sincere to you will support you. Once you let go of all your fears, transition becomes really easy. You realize that there's nothing holding you back from achieving your purpose. Your current reality has formed a comfort zone around you. This is exactly what you need to get out of. You can only transition to your purpose once you leave your comfort zone. 3. How to make this transition. This is the big question. Finding your purpose seems like an easier task compared to this. When you're trying to find your purpose, you're just looking into yourself. You're finding what you need to do in life. However, the transition phase requires action. It requires you to do something more than just contemplating. Financials are very important. Part of the reason why most people do not go for their dream job is that their dream job does not earn them enough. If you want to transition to your true purpose, you have to have a financial purpose. Your blog won't start earning for you immediately. So how are you going to eat and live for the time that your passion is not earning for you? This is what you need to plan before your transition to your purpose. You can start in steps. Get a part-time job that runs the house. Now you can spend the rest of the time on making your blog a success, or you can keep your blog running with your current job. But you can always leave your current job once the blog is earning you enough. It will be hard to balance the two. But isn't that what following your purpose is all about? A few extra hours will make you feel more fulfilled than that 9-to-5 work. 4. Systems are important. To transition to your life purpose, you need to have a system in place. If blogging is your purpose, you need to have websites and photo editors. You need to get in touch with other people from the field to guide you. Look around and find people like you. Socialize with them and make your own little family. This family supports your purpose and will help you transition to it. Your blog isn't sufficient. Head over to social media and increase your presence there too. Get in touch with people and let them know about you. Part of the transition process is to make others aware of your purpose. Isn't this what musicians, painters, authors, scientists, and artists do? They don't hide away their purpose. They bring it out to the world. Letting the world experience your art, music, inventions, and words is the best way to transition. Slowly, yet eventually, you will get there. The transition process is just as fulfilling as the final result. Give it your undivided time and attention. Living purposefully is one of the most, if not the most, enjoyable experiences you can have in life. You know that when you live with a purpose, life just flows. On the way, you're able to carve your own way as you pass through the ups and downs, with your purpose always holding you strong. This is the life you want to live. This is the purpose you want to follow, and these are the benefits you want to enjoy. A purposeful life is a useful life, and the best way to lead a good life.